Let's have a look at GE Historian 2024 and Collector Redundancy. What we're looking at here is Configuration Hub. Now, Configuration Hub is the new administration tool for GE Historian. And you can see that in the navigation system, it's also the administration for other pieces of software as well. So you could administer GE's Proficy iFIX SCADA inside this same Configuration Hub tool, as well as plan applications and other software. What we are going to look at now are the GE Historian data collectors. On this server, we have a set of GE Proficy iFIX collectors for version 2024. When I installed GE iFIX, I simply installed the software with the Historian collector. And after starting iFIX, the collector automatically populated into Configuration Hub. In this specific setup, we have 6 collectors across 6 iFIX servers. In this architecture, iFIX is set up with Enhanced Redundancy, which means there are 2 iFIX nodes for each redundant server pair. For every pair of iFIX nodes, if one server goes offline or into maintenance, the other server continues serving data to client HMIs without interruption. So let's go ahead to 8434. And if we look over on the right in the Properties window, we can see that I have redundancy enabled. It is a redundant collector. You can see it's backed up by 8435. And for the redundancy failover trigger, I've got collector status. And what that means is if the collector itself goes into a failed state or an unknown state, the other collector will take over. And if we look at 8435, we can see that I have the collector set up as a redundant collector. It is backing up 8434, and the collector status again is being used as the failed over trigger. And that'll be the same with 8436. We can see down below it's a redundant collector. It's being backed up by 8437, and the collector status is the failover trigger. And again, similarly, we've got 8437 that is set up as a redundant collector. It is backing up 8436, and collector status is the failover trigger. So for right now, what we're going to do is go ahead and look at 8434 and 8435, and we'll fail that over. So first we can see that 8434 is in standby. 8435 is the active collector. So now we look at the 2 SCADA servers, and we can see that 8434 in iFIX land is the standby SCADA right now, and 8435 is the active SCADA. Now that's counter to what you might expect, but that just means that one of these has failed over and the other one became active. So what we'll do, we know right now that 8435 is the active collector, so we'll go ahead and stop iFIX on that server, and we'll go back to the Historian. So if we do a refresh here, you'll see now that 8435 has stopped, and immediately 8434 has become the active collector. In order to verify that, we just have to go to the tags, look at SCADA 1, which is 8434, and let's have a look at the last 10 data points. And you can see all the data is good. If we went back further than that, we would see probably one bad data point where the collectors have essentially switched their active state. Okay, so if we do that, we can go ahead and turn 8435 back on. And really all this is going to do for us is allow that collector to come back and start running again. But it'll still be the standby collector. And this will take a little bit. You can see it's starting now. And now it's running. But again, it's still the standby collector. And the reason for that, we don't want to keep switching back and forth and creating a bad data point if we don't need to. So let's go ahead and set up 8438 as a redundant collector. Set it up as redundant, as collector status turned on, and we go ahead and hit the save in the upper left-hand side. And of course, that's important. Now 8439, let's go ahead and set it up as a redundant collector. And you can see it's automatically populated as 8438. But typically, you're not going to see anything in this window. Okay, so what that means is we have to usually save this and then go back into the collector and set it up as 8438. Okay, that doesn't always automatically populate. So once you save it, you'll need to, in many cases, come back and set the backup so that you know which ones it's backed up for. So now we can see that we've got 8438 and 8439 set up as active and standby, and we've got all 3 SCADA servers properly collecting and properly being backed up by another collector. Now, it's also important to note that if I wanted to, I could have multiple SCADAs or multiple collectors backing up that primary collector. Now, that's not always necessary, but certainly if you want the highest availability, you could add multiple collectors for backup.